And every child, they knew that doing that, they're helping the children from the agricultures. And another question, we're speaking about one, using less car, second, separating garbage, third, which is the most important, live closer to your work or bring work closer to home. And I think this is going to be the most important issue in the planning of our cities. The separation of functions, we know mixed use, there's a concern about mixed use, but more and more it's not only mixing use, it's mixing income, it's mixing ages. The more you mix, the more human the city becomes. This is the 24-hour street. Because there are streets, there are sectors of the city that they can play different roles during a day. So we started I remember I was in the Zócalo in Mexico. It was crowded at the end of the day. So I realized that there's a new system of transport. You are transported by the crowd. You don't move, and the crowd, they're pushing you. So they asked me, is there any solution about that? So I answered, well, when there is no solution in space, there should be a solution on time. So why not having the informal commerce after 6, so we'll have more life at night. And it's going to be better for safety, and it's going to help better to solve the problem during the day. Well, we have this street since 1992, never closed. And, well, there are street fairs like in any city, like in every city. But we have at night, street fairs at night, where the families, they used to meet. Oh, this is the portrait of a family. You don't rip a family portrait. Even if you don't like the nose of an uncle, you never do it. You know why? Because this portrait is you. And every city has its family portrait. So, and sometimes, if you don't have landmarks, we didn't have national landmarks, there are some buildings that they are good references for a city. This was in 1971, we decided to, this was an old depot of powder. It was transformed in a beautiful theater. The historic center was recycled. It's mostly German. The pedestrian mall was done in 72 hours, 3 days. It was a whole story. I don't want to take too much time on this. And I would say we have to work fast. I explain why. First of all, we have to do it fast to avoid our own bureaucracy. Second, because once the decision, the political decision is done, once it's done, you had all the discussions, you have to start immediately. If not, you have the whole discussion again and again. It's like lunch, family lunch and on Sundays. It never ends the discussion. This building where is the story of the city we tell. It looks like the trees that we have in the south, mostly in our city. And we started to, in the 300th anniversary, we started to pay homage to our ethnic diversity. So we put an Italian portal in front of a borough which has more Italians, not only Italians. And after the Ukrainian park, and after the Polish park, when the Pope visited Curitiba, and after the Japanese park, and the German park. And all of a sudden, the Soviet Union, they split. So since we have people from Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, we had to stop the program because we didn't have the money to do it. So, and now it's Kosovo, again, another portal. So we took some wands made in nature. What is a quarry? A quarry is a wand made in nature. But during the years, this wand was transformed in another landscape. And this was transformed in the Open University for Environment. This is a theater that was done. This theater is in an old quarry. This theater was done in 2 months, legally. That we made the bid for just one material, the tubes, the metallic tubes, and we made the bid for the manpower. So in 2 months, we started the 15 January 92, 18 March 92, this theater was inaugurated and it was a beautiful night. And this is how it is. Summer, it was the Shakespeare summer, yes, Summer Night Dream. And the choreographer, he removed the scenographer, he removed all the scenography because the landscape was more beautiful. The sound of the frogs, everything. By the way, there is no part of a city which is ugly. There is no frog that cannot be transformed in a prince. It depends the kiss of the princess. And this is an old, it was a landfill, and it's a beautiful park. It's a quarry also. If you have a quarry here, I like quarries, I could buy it. So make a small price, I could buy it. Okay, I would like to tell you what I'm doing now. Urban acupuncture, I'm doing acupuncture. So, this is a beautiful, this is a beautiful acupuncture done in Paris. The author. I'm showing this in every city, not because of you. There's another, but there's another beautiful acupuncture. This is in Berlin. But sometimes a small design makes the city. Now, this is a beautiful acupuncture in New York. The smaller park in New York is the Paley Park, 13 meters per 32, 53rd East Street. But what is acupuncture? I'm not trying, okay, planning takes time, and sometimes it has to take time. But sometimes you can make some focal projects that they can provoke a new energy that could help the whole process of planning. It's not instead of the process of planning. It's to help the process of planning. This is some acupuncture we are doing in São Paulo. We proposed a metallic key to link all the market and beautiful buildings that are close to the market. And we designed a portable street. I'll show you later on. There are some parts of the city that they're decaying. This is one part of São Paulo where we have the three best buildings, three best cultural anchors. One is the Pinacoteca. It's a project of Paulo Mendes da Rocha, Pritzker Prize, great architect. The other is the Museum of the Portuguese Language, and the other is the Auditorium in São Paulo. Beautiful buildings, beautiful recycle works of recycling. But the whole borough is decaying and no people wants to live there. The place is called Crackland. Can you imagine how sad it is? So we proposed some portable streets. Why? Because there are some places where you don't want to live. So you have to bring life to make people want to live. So in this idea to bring the portable street, not touching the buildings, and you can bring a Friday night and remove it on Monday early morning. But at the same time, and what in the week you can put in front of a university or in front every part when there are people. And we proposed this in this project. In Rio, there is a huge discussion about the port. Who has to restore the port? Is the federal government or the state or the city? Well, we proposed in the meantime, just put in front of the sea a portable street. It can be used in a wonderful landscape. This is a new borough in Rio, a new part of the city. This is another city that we're proposing acupuncture with metal behind the bridge, the historic bridge, and this an arena that has no, it's a theater that has no stage. The stage is the sea. We have the habitude to walk in differently. We're Brazilians. This is the Mobility Museum. I did this project for Fittipaldi, the big car racers. And this is the frozen speed. And it would look like that. And this is the Sustainable Museum. It's the idea how to teach the children. And inside the city, inside this place, they'll know how much time it takes to go from their house to the school, and how many carbon emissions during a trip, during a year, during 20 years. And if it's a number important, it will show in the ozone layoff. And inside the cube, artists will explain sustainability in this cube. This is a new project. It's a balance, a new structure for Brasilia, where we have the pilot plan did by Lucio Costa, and the building, magnificent buildings by Oscar Niemeyer. And, well, there's a kind of analogy between the asas, the wings, and the lake from the pilot plan, where we have 500,000 people living, and we have 2,500,000 right on the other side, and there is no design at all. One is very well, it's design defined, and the other there is no design at all. And we're proposing an occupation along the parks, like two big birds. And this is the buildings we're proposing, the analogy with the pilot plan, and how it's going to be in the landscape of Brasilia. So the boulevard, the only boulevard, it's the buildings, they have to have 1/5 of the area in gardens. Even the architecture will be different from different ways. It will have some unity. And this is, again, we're trying to bring life at early moment. And these portable streets, they are with LED, and we're working on the prototype now. This is a park on paying homage to Burle Marx, the great Burle Marx. The idea, when you're doing a park for us, it's very hard to build everything in a park. Sometimes it's better if you take just one axe and leave time to the trees to grow up, because it's a desert area, very dry. So we're proposing just one axe and one place that will show Viva o povo brasileiro, long life the Brazilian people. It's a model from the country. And you can walk and you'll see the importance, the strategic importance of Brasilia for the country as the encounter of the waters, all the rivers. And, I'm sorry, and a kid walking in the model will understand in 1 hour more geography than in 2 years of classes of geography, because they walk inside the country. This is the concept, this painting from Toledo, the famous Mexican painter. Like every painting, there is the frame and the passepartout and the painting. When we proposed, we were invited to a project in China. There was small villages, and they wanted to destroy the village to build new housing programs. And I told them, we cannot do it. But we proposed contemporary, the architecture as frames, as a frame, and keeping to plant as a passepartout, and we'll keep, the idea was keeping the village as it was. Or like in Oaxaca, Mexico, they wanted to build a place for meetings for 20,000 people I told them, you have so wonderful climate and patios, wonderful. Why you have to build a place for 20,000 people? Just 4,000. And if you have the need for the first conference, you have the patio. This is in Tokyo, Shimokitazawa. It works like that. It's like a motor, Shimokitazawa. Shimokita. It was a form. It was a railroad that crossed a very lively borough in Tokyo. At the moment they crossed this lively borough, it cut the life, but it's still very young people, they are living there. But now they want to put underground the railroad, and they want to build a road, just 2.5 kilometers. Why they need a wide road? So I went to make a conference there, and they took me to discuss with the people. And after that, the idea was, you know, the old tailors, they had this kind of invisible sewing. You remember? I don't know if there are some tailors that are doing that. I had a taxi driver in New York. I took one, and I was going to a party, and I felt, how do you say, a rip. So I told the taxi drivers, listen, there is a wire here in your car. Like, no, not possible. So again, and when I saw it was like a window, it was. So we started to discuss, and he doesn't want to. Well, I went to the party. How you can discuss with a taxi driver in New York? I went to the party. I had the subject to talk. This is okay. When I came back, I took this to. There is one Japanese tailor that can do this invisible sewing in Curitiba. So he did such a good work that when I tried to find where is the hole, no more holes. That's the spirit of back sewing and trying to catch with new architecture an invisible sewing for this place. I don't know if they'll take this idea, but it's an idea that I like. And as a small gallery with theaters and movie theaters small, and for it's a small beach in the terrace of the gallery, and in Tokyo, 2.5 kilometers per 7 meters. It's a huge park. In Tokyo, not here. And, well, we're speaking about Olympic Games. I realized when I was a governor that there is 1 year that is nothing. No World Cup, no Olympic Games, no Winter Games. So let's take this year and make in our state the World Nature Games. But we had only 6 months to prepare it. But it's the place, a magic place, where the strongest force of nature, the waterfall, it's really incredible. And the hydroelectric plant, it was the biggest of the world. Now it's the second, because there is the Three Gorges in China. Our idea was preparing the World Nature Games. We didn't spend 1 cent in stadiums or in arenas. The World Nature Games, they were, and we couldn't build because it's a waterfall, but it was ballooning, rafting very close to the waterfall, and it was, we had around 60 countries and 120 TV channels in '97. And this is the cultural convoy. My state has 10 million people, 399 municipalities. There are some municipalities for 3,000 people, 5,000 people. They cannot afford to build a theater. There were people, they never saw a theater, an opera, a concert. So we recycled old buses, and it was a convoy that we took all the cities. And one bus went to one city, the other to the other, and we had an average of 1,500 people per concert. So the whole idea, I took too much time. It's too much time, I'm sorry. Just to finish. I'm having fun in my work as doing acupuncture, and I made a movie for children how to explain how sustainability. And also I'm doing another movie about dreams. I'm a very lucky man, I can tell you, very lucky man. I had wonderful people working with me, wonderful professionals. I could be an advisor to the other guys, they could be the mayors. I had the chance to be, and I could make so many dreams come true. And I'm speaking not on professional dreams, and not political dreams. I'm far from politics for more than 5 years. I'm speaking about your life. So I realized one thing. If you cannot make your dream come true, don't be frustrated. That's the end of the movie. Be sure, if you dedicate yourself to this dream, someday, this dream will go around and will touch you and will say, you remember me, I'm your dream. It's your second chance. So I hope that every one of you will have his second chance during all your life. Thank you. Thank you.
Jaime, thank you very, very much indeed. Actually, perfect timing. I think Fidel Castro will have managed another 10 hours, but that was absolutely perfect for the lecture tonight. And covering themes that range from turtles to mother-in-laws to houses with 20% of the floor